host a website, basically some HTML files, CSS, and JavaScript. So a static site on Amazon EC2 instance from a Windows computer. So if you see here, like I have in my D drive, there is a folder called downloads, and in there I have a few HTML files and stuff like that. So if I open the HTML directly, it will open up in the browser. It shows me what content it has. Now, instead of having it here, I want this to be hosted on an EC2 instance. So let's see how can we do that. To begin with, like we need an AWS account. So I have already here, and then I'll create an EC2 instance here. So I'll go to North Virginia region. You can choose like wherever you want to host your EC2, but yeah, I'll try to do it from North Virginia. Go to EC2 console, and once you are there, you can go to instances and then click on launch instance. And I will go ahead with an Amazon Linux too. So select that, and let's say I go ahead with T2 Micro, one instance. I don't have any specific settings at this point of time. I'll just add the default storage, whatever it is. Add tags, security groups. This is something that we will need to configure. I want to install the web server software on the EC2 instance, so I'll need access to port 22. And also after I install the web server, I will want to host the website, which is basically a HTTP site. So I'll click on HTTP, and then that enables port 80. So these two should be good enough for me. Now I can go click on review and launch it. I don't have any existing key pair, so I'll try to create a new key pair. Let's call this key pair web host demo. I'll download this to my D drive. Show in folder wherever it is. I'll take it from there and then put it wherever all my rest of the files were. Okay, I have put that here, and I'm coming back. Click on launch instance. This should launch the instance in a few seconds. Now let me click on view instances. In a few seconds, you should see this pending state goes to running state, and then your EC2 instance will be ready. Now, if I want to connect to it, I can click on this instance, and as soon as it gets into the running state, this connect button becomes enabled, and then I can try to connect that. Okay, now I see which still loading, so let's give it a few seconds. And meanwhile, I'll move these files, the web files, to let's say another folder called web assets. So I moved it there. Okay, now that this is running, I get the option called connect. I'll click on connect, and here it gives me the IP address, or I want to connect it from my computer, so I'll click on SSH client, and this gives me a link. Now I need to execute this from my computer. Now there are a few ways of how you can do it. You can do it from putty, you can do it from command prompt. I prefer PowerShell, so the place where you have downloaded your key pair, you can navigate to that folder in your Windows Explorer, and then click on, go to the URL bar and then type PowerShell. This will open up PowerShell in that particular directory. So D downloads, it has opened it here. Now I can try to copy this command and then go to PowerShell and paste it and then run it. Yes, connected. Now it tells the key is too open, so we have to like restrict the access to it. Unfortunately, in Windows, we cannot do chmod 400 and then give the key name. The other way of how we can do it on Windows is like I can go to properties, go to security, and here wherever it has the permissions, I need to go check. First, let me make sure that my computer name is ThinkPad, all caps. Okay, let's go to advanced, and then I'll remove permissions from everyone. Remove. Let's say I first disable inheritance. Okay, that has taken off all the permissions. Now I'm going to add the permission. Select a principal. Okay, enter the object name. Example tells me that I have to select the username. Okay, so my username is Atria. I'll do okay, and I want to let it read. So that's the only permission I want to give. I'll do okay. So whatever is your computer's username, you can select that name. So in that system, that name. Now I'll click apply. So now only that user has permission to read. This is essentially the permission we will want for this key pair. Now I'll come back to PowerShell and then do it again. Now this time if you see, it has got connected from the earlier prompt, which was PowerShell D downloads. Now the prompt for me is like this, EC2 user. Now I can run all Linux commands. I can do clear, it will clear it. And what I want to do is, to begin with, first check which ports are open. -LTN, this tells me only port 22 is open. The other stuff is for DNS and stuff like that. Now let me install the web server. So I can do it by sudo yum install httpd. This should install. Let me expand it. Yes. Okay. This has been installed. Now if I just check like port 80 should also. Okay. I'll have to enable that. Sudo systemctl start httpd. Now this has been enabled. Now if I go check port 80 is open, here it says port 80 is open. Now similarly, okay, let's find out what's the IP address of my computer. So I'll come here and then here it tells me whatever is the public IP of my EC2 instance. So if I copy and paste it onto another URL bar, and it's port 80, so I don't have to give :80, but yeah, I'll just press enter. It tells me there's a test page. Now our web server is running successfully. The next thing I'll have to do is like copy the files from my local machine to the EC2 instance. Now, where are these files coming from? So this test page, it's a test page, but it tells whatever files I want to get rendered on this EC2 instance, I'll have to copy those files into this folder called /var/ww/html. Okay, first let me open. Okay, I'll go to web assets, that folder, and then I'll open up another. Not here. Maybe I'll just go back and then open up another PowerShell terminal. Let me increase the font a little bit. Okay. Now in here, like I know that my key pair exists in this place. So I'll do SCP, which is essentially trying to copy files using SSH from this current directory to a remote directory. I want to use this identity. It was not web assets. The key pair name was web host demo. Okay, use this as the identity file and copy all the stuff that's there in web assets. I'll do star, so copies all the stuff. And I want this to be copied into EC2-user at whatever is the IP address of the EC2 instance, which is this one. Control C, and then I'll do, I don't need this HTTP stuff. So EC2 at that IP address, and now I need to give the path. I can't directly copy to /var/ww/html because that's a protected directory. So first I'll copy to the home directory. So I'll do copy to home EC2 user. Now before that, let me just show you, like, if I check what files I have in my home directory, there is nothing at the moment. But when I perform this SCP, this is supposed to copy all the files. Okay, copying. Okay, all the 4 files got copied. So let me come back here. Increase the font of this also a bit. Now I'll do ls again. You should see those 4 files are here, which is a good news for us. Now all I have to do is just copy these files into the right folder. So I'll do copy all the files in my current directory, and I want to do it to /var/ww/html. This is the same directory that I see it in my default web page as well. So you can refer to that as well. Now I will copy it. It says permission denied. I basically have to sudo. Okay. Now that it's done, if I go back to my web page, I should, when I refresh this, I should see the web page whatever I want. So this has some HTML, CSS, styling, and then there's a picture. There's also a page to basically that does not have any content. It just, I've put the content there saying no content here. Anyway, so this is how you can copy paste your files, and now it's on the EC2 instance. So even if my computer is turned on now, if the EC2 instance is powered up, your instance will work. I mean, your website will work at any point of time. Now let's see how we can convert this IP address into a domain. So first you will need to own a domain name for that. So I have a domain name bought from this domain name registrar called GoDaddy. So I'll log into my account. So go to, okay, I've already logged in. So I'll just click on my products. It will show what domains do I own. And in there, I want to use this thing school for now. So when I click on that, it gets to this page. And what we will have to do is like manage the DNS. So scroll down, click on manage DNS. Now for my site, I have like a lot of other stuff also that's put in here. If you want it on the domain, direct domain itself, for example, when you want it on whatever domain you bought, maybe let's say example.com, you will have to create a DNS record like this. You will click on add, and then you will select what type of record do you want to create. The one we are interested in pointing to our IP address is called a record. So we will click on a record. We will give the IP address of the EC2 instance. So in our case, it's this one. So I will copy this. I will paste it here. Don't need HTTPs. It should only be the IP address. Oh, wait. This is points to IP address goes here. Host is about like, do you want it directly? For example, if you own example.com, you may simply want to give at. If you want www.example.com to point to this, you will have to give www. If you want both direct example.com as well as www.example.com, you will have to create 2 records, one with at, one with www. Since I have my things.school pointing to another EC2 instance already, I will try to show you with a subdomain called web host demo. So if I do web host demo.things.school, that web page should show up for me. Okay. And TTL is about how long do we want the computers to remember that this domain points to this IP address. For now, I'll keep it short. I'll do custom and then I'll do 600 seconds, which is like 10 minutes. That's the minimum we can do. Okay, so I'll save it. Now, if I go to webhost.things.school, it should also point. Okay, sometimes it takes a little bit time. Webhost demo. So it's getting webhost demo, and then this should point to the EC2 instance, and whatever page I had earlier, that same thing, it shows up here. You can also look into how you can enable this site to have an SSL certificate. So that is available in this tutorial called EC2 HTTPS, and there is a tool called certbot. So there is a documentation available in docs.aws.amazon.com that will take you through how you can install an SSL certificate on Amazon Linux too. It's a very simple thing. So yeah, it shows you a couple of ways. You can either get your certificate from a certifying authority and then you can do it all on your own. Or if you just want to run a few commands, make it secure, you can simply click on this certificate automation. Let's encrypt with certbot. When you click on that, it takes you to that relevant section, and there you will have to execute a few commands. So let's say we try to do it right now. So I don't need this anymore. Okay. So I'll come here, paste it, so copy it again and paste it here. Okay, it looks like that's not working. So I'll do it, paste it. Okay, done. Now I will copy the next one. I just have to do right click on my mouse and then it does the job. Okay, so that's done. Similarly, you just have to like follow all those steps. Copy the next thing, run it, and okay, let's check if all the packages are there. It should give you this list. Okay, that's happening pretty much for me. So I'll go ahead to the next step. Now we need to modify something in our Apache server a little bit. So we need to copy this and then we need to go to this file called etc httpd conf, that one. So I'll do just clear sudo nano /etc httpd conf httpd.conf, and in here we'll have to scroll down a little bit where it says listen 80. After that we need to paste this. Okay, do we need to have the listen 80? Okay, look, here it says like locate the listen 80 directive and add the following lines after it. Okay, and I'll have to replace these domain names there. So my website name, it is web host demo.things.school. Okay, I don't have any alias, so I'll get rid of that. Okay, so that's done. And all I have to do is like save that and then restart my Apache service. Okay, now that it's done, I can come back and then now I need to run the tool where I get the certificate. So we have prepared everything so far. First, we will install certbot. Now this tries to install it. Okay, done installing. Now we will run the command so it gets the certificate. Okay. Copy it, paste it in, press enter. Says there's a problem. Install Apache, enter email address. So my email address, let me do it. And it asks me, do you agree? Yes. Will you be willing to be part of the Electronic Frontier Foundation? Yes. You can select yes or no, it's up to you. Now, it shows like what domains are hosted in this server. So we can select like which one we want HTTPS for. There's like only one. If I just press enter, it will get the certificate for everything. If you want only one of those domains, I'll press one and then press enter. Now it will try to get a certificate for that domain, which is actually a subdomain. Okay, done. It has got the certificate. Now I can go back to my website and I can try HTTPS. This should not work actually. It's because HTTP is port 80, which is what we have enabled in the security group. So I'll also have to like enable port 443, only then it will become enable, in the security group. So go to security groups, edit the inbound rules, and then let's add a rule for HTTPS as well. So that's port 443 and I want any IPv4 address to connect to my site. Okay, now that I enabled it, you can come back here and then if I refresh it, here you should see like this has the padlock in here. When we click on that, it should tell like, okay, certificate is valid. It also tells that since it's 25th October today, it says like it's valid from 25th October to 23rd Jan. So it gives for 90 days and then every 90 days we have to renew this. There is a renewal command that we can configure. So here you will see it. How do you configure the renewal? So this is all the things we did. So here it talks about configure automated certificate renewal. In order to do that, you can like go to this file and then you can give a command which is like a cron job. What it does is like every day 1:39 a.m. and 1:39 p.m. it tries to check if the certificate needs to be renewed, because like it does not let you renew it every time, but when it's like in the end of uh, the certificate expiry, it lets you renew it. So this is the command that actually gets run. So if I copy this and then if I try to run that, so cert renew no self upgrade, this will automatically try to renew it. Here it says like it's not due for renewal. So whenever it's due for renewal, it will automatically renew it. But this cron job, it checks every day and then if it has to be renewed, executing that gets renewed. And that's how things work. So that's how you can host a site. I mean, if it's a static site, there are better ways to host the site as well in S3 or GitHub. But if you want to go down the EC2 road, this is how you will do it. Thank you.